Mr. President, my friend and colleague from Wyoming believes that he knows who was in the streets last Saturday. I don't know where he was, but I was in the streets of Chicago. We estimate over 100,000 people were there. Were they Marxist, radical left, anti-police, pro-criminal? No. They represented the families of the state of Illinois who believe that the situation with this government is unfair to them, and I agree. Why is this government shut down? It's basically an issue that goes to the heart of why we occupy these chairs, why we run for these offices. Are we listening to the people who send us to Washington? And if we're listening, they are telling us that something is about to happen to them which they cannot manage and control. What is it? Health insurance policy costs are going up dramatically. On January 1st, those costs are going to go up an average of 114%. That means double your health insurance premiums. Now, some people are comfortable and well off and they can live with it. Others cannot. But that is the bottom line. When you look at what happened here, the passage of the big, beautiful Trump budget ended up eliminating a tax credit that was available for people in middle-income categories to pay for health insurance. We know that's going to happen. In my state of Illinois, on October the 27th, just a few days from now, everyone who's in the Affordable Care Act is going to receive notice of the increase in premiums. Like I said, an increase of 114%. So if you're paying $1,000 a month for health insurance now, January 1st, it goes up to $2,000 a month. That's the kind of thing that people have to turn and cope with. We want to save them from that. All we ask is that Congress do its job. Listen to the people you represent back home who are going to tell you you've just added a burden on my home budget that we can't handle. Senator, do something to help. That's not unreasonable. I've done this job for a few years. Many people come to us asking for help, just like this. How many people across America are going to be affected by this increase in premiums, dramatic increase in premiums? Some say 24 million people. 24 million people. And we say on the Democratic side of the aisle, we were sent here to fix it, let's fix it. And when we say that to the Republicans, they'd say, we'd rather shut down the government. Shut down the government. It was your vote that created this premium increase. Can't you join us now, Democrats and Republicans, and fix it? Of course we can, and we ought to do it as quickly as possible. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, but our government's been shut down for 21 days over this issue. We have taken show vote after show vote on the Republican-crafted plan to fund the government. All of them have failed. There is an obvious way out of this. I've been in Congress for a few years, and I know how this problem is solved. When people of goodwill sit down at the same table, there are thousands of pieces of furniture in this Capitol building and lots of tables and chairs. Why is it we can't sit down and do it? One of the problems is that the House of Representatives has gone AWOL, gone on vacation. I believe this is the 4th week that they've stayed on vacation instead of coming to Washington to help solve this problem. How do you explain that? How do you explain men and women elected to the House of Representatives facing a looming deadline on the increase of health insurance who don't even show up for work? I talked to a number of Democratic congressmen this morning. They say you can't explain it. Every one of the committees has important work to do. The Speaker of the House refuses to call them. As for the Republicans in the Senate, well, today's going to be a spectacular day for them, I guess. They've been invited to a meeting, maybe even a lunch, in the Rose Garden of the White House with the president. If one or two of them would break off of that lunch and sit down with one or two Democrats, maybe we could start the conversation to solve this problem. And it's a real problem. In Illinois, a 60-year-old couple with an income of $82,000 a year could see their annual health insurance premiums increase $17,000 a year, more than 254%. That's $1,400 more a month for health insurance starting January 1st. A family of 4 earning $64,000 could see their annual premium increase by $2,571 a year. That's a 226% increase. We ought to be concerned about that. We ought to care about it. a lot more than any political position. Ask any American if they can afford to pay double for their health care insurance. Most of them will tell you that they can't. And these looming premium spikes are causing Americans to panic. Don't take my word for it. Listen to the people I represent. Carissa wrote me and said that she has a chronic condition and takes several medications every single day. Carissa gets cancer screening several times a year for breast and GI cancer because she's at risk. But if Republicans allow the increased premium tax credits to expire, Carissa said that she, quote, won't be able to continue these treatments. Think about that. What a choice to make, your money or your life. What's going to happen if she's not able to get screened for cancer? Carissa may have been able to prevent a serious issue early on by that screening, but now she may not know until it's progressed and costs even more to treat if it can be treated at all. All because of this political difference where Republicans in Congress say that her health insurance premiums, even though they're unaffordable, are not a worry to them. Ingrid from Springfield wrote to me and she said she's, quote, in distress because she's afraid she won't be able to afford her medical treatment next year. She has a disability, she's retired, she struggles to pay mortgage, utilities, student loans, and debts. Ingrid is also fighting cancer right now and needs ongoing medical treatment. When she checked her health insurance premium for next year, her jaw dropped. Ingrid wrote that all the options were quite impossible for her. The cheapest option for her health insurance came with a $1,400 a month premium and a $14,000 deductible. Ingrid's worried that she may lose her home just to pay for basic coverage. No American should be forced to choose between their home and health care, their money or their life. But if my Republican colleagues continue to ignore this issue, more Americans will be facing just that decision starting this next year. If Republicans in Congress fail to extend the enhanced premium tax credit before the end of the year, premiums for 22 million Americans will more than double. If we do nothing, premiums for 22 million Americans will more than double. And more than 4 million Americans will become uninsured, including more than 100,000 people in Illinois. What's it like to live without health insurance? I faced that at one point in my life. I never want to face it again. It's a horrible feeling. This isn't rocket science. Republicans do not have 60 votes in the Senate to pass their partisan bill that fails to do anything to lower health care costs. They must work with Democrats to fund the government and prevent Ingrid, Carissa, and millions of other Americans from losing their health care. We could do that today. Instead of a vacation for the House and a picnic for the Senate Republicans, we should be sitting down to get to work. Senator Thune and Speaker Johnson need to come not to the picnic table at the White House, but to the table of bargaining, and do it sooner rather than later. Instead, the Senate Republicans are heading to the White House for lunch. I'm sure it'll be nice. But if a couple of them could peel off and actually sit down and bargain, that would be a much better day for America. It is unfathomable that Speaker Johnson has chosen to give the House a 5-week vacation amid this crisis. House Republicans must return to Washington and go to work, or they'll have to explain to an increasingly large group of constituents why health insurance premiums have doubled under the Republican leadership in Congress. Mr. President, I yield the floor.